everyone, welcome back for another episode of Adams for the Love of Movie Picks. This time around, we're going to be talking about the 2021 film Willy's Wonderland, starring Nicolas Cage. Now, this movie here, the best way I can describe it, it's kind of like in a way, a knockoff of Five Nights at Freddy's. The video game, and they're actually going to be making a movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, really soon. Um, Mixed in with a little bit of Chucky. If you watch the movie, you'll understand that reference. I don't want to give too much away. And just mixed in with a lot of badassery on top of that. Um, Basically, Nicolas Cage's character, who they never give a name, his name's the janitor, is driving through the countryside and ends up in a county, and he ends up running over some spike strips that were allegedly laid by some kids that stole them from a cop car. And in order to get his tires fixed, because they only take cash and he didn't have enough cash on him, they basically the tow truck driver makes him a deal. Says, "Look, buddy, like we'll fix your tires, get your car as good as new. All you have to do is work it off." In order to work it off, there's a guy named Tex who owns Willy's Wonderland, which is a former kids' entertainment place. That he basically says, "Look, you spend the night here, you clean up the joint, do some janitorial things. We'll consider it even Steven on your car and your tires." And basically, he gives the spiel that why Willy's Wonderland is closed is that there was, some kids had been climbing over the animatronics, they had gotten hurt, and there was lawsuits, and that's the spiel. Well, you learn there's a much darker truth than that to the story, as to what is going on with Willy's Wonderland. I'm not going to give too much away, but basically the animatronics have a mind and a will of their own, basically, is what I'm going to say. And Nicolas Cage's character single-handedly, starts taking them on. It's pretty epic and pretty badass. The most interesting thing about Nicolas Cage's character, which at the same time is brilliant as it is annoying, is that he doesn't talk. Through the entire movie, everything he conveys is through facial expressions, gestures of the head, nod his head, handshake, what have you. And it's really interesting, but at the same time, it's maddening because there's certain points where you'd almost like him to speak, utter a badass line, like, while just before he takes out one of these things, like, "Hey, playtime's up." Something like that effect, it'd be kind of cool. But at the same token, the fact that he doesn't talk makes his character all the more mysterious and badass, in my opinion. And then, of course, the other thing that would have been neat that I would have liked to have seen them do now, because he doesn't talk, I mean, obviously he's not going to tell you his backstory, but it'd be kind of interesting, maybe somebody did some fingerprinting on him, and they figured out what his story is and his history. Excuse me. That would have been interesting as well. Just kind of figure out who he is, get a little bit more of a background on him. Even if they don't give him a name, just to look at his background, I think would be cool. And that being said, so throughout the whole thing, there's part of it too that kind of makes you wonder if there's something not right with him upstairs. Just because, there's basically, I'm not going to give too much away, but basically he's told the story of what's going on with this joint. And even after he's been attacked and he's being told the story, he still goes back to the task that he was asked. I think what it is, it's either he's not quite right upstairs, or it's because he wants to make sure the guy honors his bargain, regardless of if he's been lied to or not about what the truth about this place is. He wants to make sure that he does his part so that he gets his car back. I personally think that that's what it is. That being said, basically, this movie, besides Nicolas Cage, it also stars Emily Tosta as Liv, one of the other title characters in this. I'm just trying to have a look here at the other characters that are in this. I know I normally do this at the beginning, but I was having trouble with my IMDb app loading on my second phone, so I'm trying to get it going here so I can have a look and see if there's any other actors that are known in this, whether it be voice or in person. While I'm waiting for that, though, I just want to say like it's more than just badass action mixed with horror. This movie, they actually come up with a pretty convincing storyline. I mean, if you believe in, again, without giving too much away, believe in magic, more or less, is the best way I can describe it. It's almost a convincing storyline as to what is going on with this place. And the truth behind how Willy's was even created is disturbing in itself. You'll see what I mean when you check it out there, folks. Yeah, unfortunately, this app is not working, folks, so I'm not going to be able to look into too much in terms of the actors that are in this. To be honest with you, I didn't really recognize anybody outside of Nick Cage and the Tosta lady, the one that plays Liv. The only other one I recognize, I feel like I've seen him before. There was one of her friends in it, Bob or Bobby. He looked familiar to me, and the lady that plays the sheriff, she looked familiar to me as well. But so that being said, this is definitely not a movie for kids. This is an adult only movie. Lots of violence, lots of language, but still highly entertaining ride, folks. I highly recommend checking out Willy's Wonderland. It's just chaotic, gruesome, horrific fun, if you will, if you're a fan of just those kind of movies. Again, mixed with some badassery. So there you are, folks. Willy's Wonderland. Pretty sure I'm not sure if it's available on any streaming platforms, but it's definitely available wherever movies are sold. There you are, folks. You have yourselves a good night. We'll catch you next week for another episode of Adams for the Love of Movie Picks. Take care.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.